Welcome, modelers, to the latest in my series of buying glue bombs. This particular glue bomb is an AMT 29 Ford Model A, and I've spent an hour on it. I've made some headway with this model after spending an hour on it earlier today. The chassis and motor, as you can see, are all glued together. The previous modeler didn't really do very much as far as removing sprue material and that kind of stuff. So I had a lot of work to do. I have this clamp on here because the front suspension wasn't glued together very well. The fenders were glued together to the chassis when I got it. The front bumpers was on. The two taillights were attached. You can see I've got some sanding to do here. To get these off, I had to do quite a bit of gluing, ungluing. Had to put a lot of modeling glue on there to soften it up to get them to come off. Likewise, you can see the front bumper brackets. They were well glued on too. So a lot of things were glued together incorrectly. Poorly, what have you. You've seen the chassis and the fenders, and here's the body. This is going to need some help. I don't know what I'm going to do. This model came from a collection that was donated to a model railroad club that I'm a member of, and this is the third one. I was reluctant to buy this one, and I put it aside and put it off for a year, and finally I just said, oh, why not? So here I am. The body, yeah, I'm not going to look at it right now. I'm sure I can clean it up, make it into something presentable. The wheels were not assembled. The tires were put on only half of the wheel, and the axles were pushed through, and I had to disassemble the wheel backs from the axles and the tires, and so now I have the wheels glued together, ready to paint, maybe tomorrow. This particular one I had to do a lot of clamping to. I have to see how it came out. So I'm trying to decide now what I'm going to do. Sometimes when I do a model, I have an idea of what I want it to look like. Sometimes I don't. And this is one of those times when I don't really know what I want it to look like. I know I want it to be stock. I just don't know the color. I just did a little research on good old Google and found one with black fenders and a gray body. And I think I might go that route. Then I can do the wheels black, and they won't be quite so noticeable, I hope. These aren't very good wheels. Well, they don't look too bad. I usually like to paint them, what do you call it? I use Float Wheel paints, and it's a model railroad paint, and I use Depot Buff is what it's called. So I like to paint it that cream color. As far as what else is in the box here, we have the hot rod tires, and the wheels are in there too, and we have lots of chrome, and the blown engine here too. I don't know what that is, a Chrysler? Do they even tell us what it is? So there's the V8 there. And so I think I did an inventory, rough inventory of the pieces and parts, and I think everything's here. Pretty sure. So, got a lot of work ahead. The chassis and the fenders are going to be the first thing to get done, and the wheels, obviously. So I think the wheels are ready for the paint shop. I just need to decide whether they're going to be cream colored or black. The fender assembly has got a lot of sanding to do. The chassis, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a lot of mold parting lines in here. Some of that is glue residue. And there's a heck of a... He didn't line up the two halves of the rear axle very well. So I've got a lot of sanding and filing to do back here. But it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just, I want it to be good, not perfect. So, I'll bring you back when I get a little more done. Okay, welcome back to the 29 Ford Model A build, or rebuild. So, at this point, it's been about 2 hours. I've got the fenders all set. I put the tail light assemblies back on. I sanded, these were badly glue stained or whatever. There was a lot of glue buildup around them. So I've sanded those down, remounted those. Those are ready for painting. I didn't bother to fill the pin ejector spots here. Oh well, that's ready. The chassis is, the battery was removed, taken off, and this little steering piece was taken off. Those have now been re-glued. I also discovered that this piece back here, I don't know what this is, but this is a mounting bracket for the rear bumper, and it was not glued in the right location. So I removed that and reassembled that. The motor, I would normally, the engine I would normally remove, and I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to paint everything black, and if I want to paint the engine, I think they're supposed to be like a dark green. I'll paint it by hand if I think it's necessary. So there we are. Chassis and fenders ready for paint tomorrow, maybe. This all goes well. One aspect of the hobby that I have a lot of problems with is rattle cans. And so wish me luck. Here goes. I'm going to start with the license plate because it's easy and small. And hopefully I won't mess it up. Come on. You can't see when I'm spraying, can you? Let me try moving over here. So I inevitably put too much paint on. body. Next step, I'm going to take the spare wheel off the back. And that's been very thoroughly glued in place by the previous. The hood's okay. There's a little bit of flash right there. I almost don't want to take a file to it. Okay, the hood looks good. Didn't mean to rhyme that. Yeah. The windshield casting has got the glass in place, the gauges in place, and I think they were well glued in place too. That's nice. Let's see if I can get them out. So I don't know if you can see it, but the frame has been pretty buggered up. And one of the reasons why I don't use styrene cement, I use a product called Micro Crystal Clear. Let's see if the glue on this has done any good. I need something to pry with. Get the screw. It isn't going to matter if I break this off, and it's breaking off now. It's okay. But that'll all be covered up. Most important thing is that I get it out of the way so I can sand the back, and I'll just paint this all black and glue it right there. So the fine sanding foam that I have will take off the rest of it. The other thing I want to do is I would like to take, I'm going to try and take a Dremel tool and drill into the horn so that it's, right, the spare tire is pretty well cleaned up. Just needs to be painted. Let's take a look at the body now. So we've got some glue damage here on the top of the rumble seat deck here. Okay, so there's the back. Hopefully those lines will clear out the dust. And I just remembered there's a glue line right down through here, so I've got to sand that. Hopefully the 1500. Well, the battery's still good. This is the color here I'm thinking of painting it. And you can see how the paint crazed the plastic. I wasn't trying to be careful about it, but it did a pretty good job of crazing it. So I've got that to do. I've got to fix the convertible, and I need to check the mount for the windshield, and I think I'll mount that in. I think it's supposed to be body color. I think those parts are ready. I didn't show you. I drilled out the horn before, earlier today. Okay, I filed, sanded the fill along the edge there at the top. Now let's look at the top fit. If I, come on. Okay, so it's pretty well lined up along the back. The windshield is raking forward just a little bit, so I need to pull that back. But look at the line right. Time for some great paint now. quick coat. Okay, here we go. Fenders, topside. I think what's happening is the paint is crazing the plastic. I don't know if you can see it, but back in here, it's the same thing's happening. It looks like we still have crazing happening up here and back in here. I also noticed one of the undersides of the fender right here, I think it is. I'm going to hit it one more time. I'm seeing some red showing through on the running boards. I'm going to try and hit right up in here. Still a little bit of red showing. The paint is looking pretty good. I think what's happening, it looks like it's blushing, like there's too much moisture in the air. Now to the point of having 3 main parts of the model ready to put together. The chassis is all assembled. The motors painted, engines painted. Notice one problem I had the battery set too high, so I had to cut it out and re-glue it down a little bit lower. I also turned it, I think I had it the other way around. So I got a little touch up right there to do. Body. My kit was missing the rumble seat latch, so I just put a piece of brass. It hasn't been painted yet, so it'll be done later. The glue's still wet, I think. Super glue. So there's the body. I have to lay it like that because the spare tire is pretty fragile. And the fenders. Here we have the 29 Ford Model A completed, assembled, painted, etc. I think the black paint came out pretty good. The grays, yeah, okay. I haven't glued the roof on. I think I like it with the roof on more, but yeah, I don't really want to glue it on. I think I'll just, maybe I'll put a little bit of cement on there. White glue or something like that. Oops. There we go. Something that's not permanent. And let's see if I can get the hood off. Come on. There we go. And there's the engine. Hopefully that light's not too harsh. I think it is a little bit. Washing out the gray. The one thing that was missing from the kit, pretty amazing that that was the only thing, was, I'll show you the underside. The only thing that's missing is the exhaust. So that's not too bad. I put some Tester's dull coat on the underside of the chassis to give it a good flat finish. See if I can get the top to put on. It's hard to be sure that it's centered. Not bad. Close. Thank you for watching my video on the 1929 Ford Model A Roadster construction. If you liked it, please leave a thumbs up. If you have a question or comment, please leave them down below. I do read them all. I hope you enjoy your modeling. Bye for now.